This is Andrew Rochford, host of the Rochford Files on YouTube and uh, in-person streams on Twitch as well, / the Rochford Files. And for this segment, it's important to talk about a recent victory that the people of Mexico got when their Supreme Court voted to decriminalize abortion. So let's go over the article real quick before I get into some points that made it possible for it to happen there, while women's choice is at danger here in the United States. Mexico's Supreme Court has ruled that it is unconstitutional to punish abortion as a crime, a landmark ruling that clears the way for legislation of abortion across the country. The court took up the issue Monday when 8 of 11 justices voted to revoke a law in the state of Coahuila that punished women with up to 3 years in prison for having an abortion, even in cases of rape. The other 3 justices joined in the decision Tuesday declaring such laws unconstitutional. Today is a historic day for the rights of all Mexican women, said Supreme Court Chief Justice Arturo Zaldivar on Tuesday. It is a watershed in the history of rights of all women, especially the most vulnerable, he added. The ruling sets a precedent that would force judges across Mexico, home to one of the world's largest populations of Catholics, to hand down similar rulings and expand early abortion for millions of women in Mexico's 32 states. Women in Mexico were inspired by activists in Argentina. The decision was celebrated as a major victory for the women's rights movement across Latin America that has gained momentum in recent years, prompted by record femicide rates and a major abortion rights victory in Argentina last year. Inspired by that hard-fought triumph, tens of thousands of women in Mexico have taken up green bandanas, a symbol of abortion rights activist in Argentina, calling for the decriminalization of abortion beyond the 4 states where it is legal up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. This Supreme Court decision has ripple effects beyond the Mexican state of Coahuila and applies across Mexico, Paula Avila Guillen, executive director of Women's Equality Center, said in a statement following the decision. As of this moment, any Mexican state that criminalizes abortion is in direct defiance of the federal constitution. As of this decision, all Mexican states where abortion is still criminalized are obligated to modify their legal frameworks to comply with the standards set by the court, Avila Guillen added. She noted that the ruling sets a precedent for women who are currently behind bars for seeking an abortion to be free. Now let's get into some of the things just at a basic surface level that make it possible for Mexico to have this Supreme Court victory while the United States is going in the opposite direction. So what we do know about Mexico is they're at least 82% Catholic. And it's definitely clear that the country is more religiously devoted than the United States. There are far more people in the United States who are unaffiliated, agnostic, or even atheists like myself, while in Mexico that's an extremely tiny percentage. But the point is, noticing the differences between Catholic and the evangelical Christian. So even though the evangelical Christians are still on a slow growth in Mexico, they're still overwhelmingly a Catholic country. But when you look at the United States, based on the way policy is enacted, you would think that this is a Christian majority country. And actually, it's still slightly in favor of Catholics. The thing is, uh, the strong Catholic states are also most of your deep blue liberal states. While this country has been really very gerrymandered in favor of the evangelical Christians in the South. So that's why it seems like the United States, you would think that it's a Christian majority country, but gerrymandering it has really given that religion a strong advantage. And this is why you have started to see women's choice being in danger in a serious way. Not just Texas, Florida, Georgia, and many more states are getting ready to follow suit with Texas. But let's point out some differences in the Mexican political system. First off, everything is done off of a plurality. So that means you just need to have the most votes, period, in order to win. But this is probably one factor that does help make it possible. But that 200 of their Congress seats are delegated based on representation. Because if the United States had House and Senate seats delegated based on representation, we'd have more left-wing people working in our Congress. Yes, that means even more left than the squad. So though that's another small thing that makes it possible. I'm not going to be arguing. I'm not going to pretend that corruption doesn't exist in the Mexican political system, but that's just basic surface level differences about why this victory is possible for Mexico as opposed to the United States, where you see their rights in danger. Now let's get into differences in the how they form the Supreme Court. So with the United States, the president here, they put a list of people up that the president will consider for the Supreme Court. Difference is, the president of the United States only picks one, and it's a 9-seat court, even though a Supreme Court of just 9 people, too small in my opinion. Mexico's Supreme Court is bigger. The difference is the Mexican president there, they put they select 3 potential people to be nominated for their Supreme Court. Then their Congress votes. And then whichever person gets the most votes is the person that wins that spot in their Supreme Court. So what that would mean is pretty much if the United States had something like that, you'd at least be able to try to push your Congress people into voting the better of the 3 options. With those differences in mind, that's part of why this victory is possible for women to have the right to choice. Lastly, when you look at the political tendencies of the differences between Catholics and Christians, Catholics tend to lean more liberal. So that means they tend to respect the women's right to choice more, while you have evangelical Christians they're more against women's choice. And in the United States, in this electoral system where the evangelical Christians have really disproportionate representation in this country, whether it's with the Electoral College, the Supreme Court, and this is how they're making it possible to threaten women's choice. And if just by having a small tweak where people have to be put into Congress based on representation of the country, it would make this more difficult for the United States, or part of the United States, the conservatives, to try to threaten rights if there was better representation, as long as that representation managed to not get corrupted in the process. And this is also noticed that the activists in Argentina were the ones who inspired the Mexican women to get involved in organizing around this issue, and this needs to be part of our organizing strategy as well. Regardless of, even if you think that this upcoming Women's March on October 2nd is going to be strongly liberal co-opted, but it's still important for the left to get their representation out for that event as well. We know that it'll be a massive gatherings, because the women's marches of the past have had it too, and that's going to be part of how we fight back and get women give them much stronger protection of their choices again, as in this moment we're seeing right now that they're being threatened and even taken away in certain states, and direct action such as mobilizing and organizing events are going to be the way we try to get it back.